Alright, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a close look at a crypto project that's been making huge waves for all sorts of reasons. It's called BlockDAG. We're talking about a project that's reportedly raised hundreds of millions of dollars, but the big question is it a genuine revolution in the making, or is it something else entirely? I mean, you have to appreciate the confidence. Right on their website, they're not shy about it. They're calling BlockDAG the world's most advanced Layer 1 blockchain. So they're positioning themselves as a fundamental leap forward inspired by the big guns, like Bitcoin. But then you have the other side of the coin. Critics are looking at the exact same project and seeing a completely different story. One analyst went so far as to say he's never seen a project with this many red flags. So, which is it? Hype or hazard? Let's break it down. Okay, so before we get into the controversy, you have to understand the appeal. What exactly is BlockDAG promising that got so many people not just excited but willing to put their money on the line? So what is it according to them? Well, the white paper says it's a layer 1 blockchain, the base layer like Bitcoin or Ethereum. It uses a proof of work system, which is very traditional, but they say it has a special twist inspired by another project, Caspa. And their goal? Well, it's the holy grail of crypto, delivering lightning speed, ironclad security, and true decentralization, all at once. And here's how they're selling that dream. Just look at this list. They're talking thousands of transactions per second. They say it's fully compatible with the massive Ethereum ecosystem, which is a huge deal for developers. And they're even promising low-code tools, so building on it is super simple. They're literally checking every single box on the crypto wish list. So what about the coins, the actual tokens? Well, there's a total supply of 50 billion, and get this, a whopping 70% of that is set aside for the community, which includes miners. Now, this is a classic crypto playbook move. It's designed to signal that the project is all about decentralization and rewarding the people who actually secure the network. Okay, so you have this really compelling story, right? But how did that story turn into a marketing juggernaut that built so much momentum so fast? Well, this is the number that just stops you in your tracks. According to market watchers, the project's pre-sale has pulled in over $365 million. I mean, that is a staggering amount of money. It just goes to show how incredibly effective their marketing machine has been. A huge part of their hype machine was built around product updates. Promoters, YouTubers, they all got super excited about something called Dashboard V4. It was framed as this massive step forward, proof that real, tangible progress was being made. And this dashboard was really clever from a marketing perspective. It looked like a real crypto exchange, with live charts and order books. But the key feature was the simulated trading. It gave pre-sale investors a zero-risk way to play around with the interface, making the whole project feel incredibly real and just around the corner, long before anything actually launched. And that brings us to the big turning point in this story. For weeks, the project's website had a countdown timer ticking down to a global launch release on August 11th. The entire community was buzzing. You could feel the anticipation. So what happened when that timer finally hit zero? Well, when the countdown finished, there was no launch. What appeared instead was a tweet, and the wording was so important. They weren't launching on major exchanges like everyone expected. They were now aiming for listings on places like Coinbase and Gemini. And then, just like that, the countdown timer on their website, it was gone. So yeah, that didn't go over well, at all. That moment basically opened the floodgates. It amplified all the skepticism that was already simmering and led critics to start pointing out a whole list of red flags. One critic had this perfect and honestly hilarious analogy for that aiming for language. He said it reminded him of his little kid throwing rocks in the yard yelling, "I'm aiming for the moon, Dad." And yeah, you get the point, right? Aiming for something is a universe away from actually doing it. And that vague language was just the tip of the iceberg for skeptics. They started compiling a list. Where was the company registration info? Why did the pre-sale keep going and going, even after saying it was finishing soon? Then there were user complaints popping up in comment sections, people saying their funds were temporarily vanishing. And maybe the biggest one, the website said miners were shipping from day one, but critics couldn't find a single person who had actually received one. So, this all leads us right to the heart of the BlockDAG story. It really boils down to a classic conflict, one you see all the time in tech and especially in crypto, the battle between promise and proof. So let's just put them right next to each other and see how it stacks up. The contrast here is pretty stark, isn't it? The claim was major exchange listings, the reality was a tweet saying they were aiming for it. The claim was a global launch, the reality was a disappearing timer. The claim was that miners were shipping worldwide, the reality, as far as anyone can tell, is that no one has them. The pre-sale was finishing soon for months, while it just kept raising more money. This gap, right here, this is the chasm between what was promised and what has actually been delivered. So after looking at the incredible hype, the ambitious promises, and all of the red flags, what's the big picture here? What's the real takeaway from the whole BlockDAG saga? Ultimately, I think the BlockDAG story forces us to ask a much bigger question, one that applies to any project in this space. When you see these incredible promises, how do you tell if you're looking at a genuine revolution or just a collection of really well-marketed red flags? More often than not, the answer lies right in that gap we were just talking about, the difference between a promise and the proof.